Pop, pop, ba, pop. June 26th.
11/11.
11/11. Make a Wish Foundation. And make a wish that there's no more fucking bullshit ass corruption, son. Take that corruption right into Trudeau's ass. What's good? Coming to you.
Heat wave edition.
Yes,
Heat
we're
wave
yellow.
edition.
We're purple. We're drowning in this, man.
We are suffering right now.
Suffering. That mustache is sweating, bro.
Yeah, 100%. I just took a shower and this mustache is already sweating, man. You fucking suffering out here, man.
Bro,
But we're here.
suffering
But we're here.
heavy. Heavy.
I don't even think I'm wearing fucking like underwear at this point, bro.
You're going commando?
Bro, drawers are sweating, bro.
Commando until when? Next year? Tuesday. Dog, for people that don't know, VANCITY is gritty. We have a 41 and a 43. And
Coming our way.
I think what's the humidity like?
Humidity, roughly like 40%. So it's not super crazy, not like Miami shit, but definitely it's gonna be worse than like Osoyoos and like fucking Kelowna. They got it easy.
But it feels like 45.
Yeah, it's gonna feel fucking rough.
Fucking rough. And you know what? If you're thinking about going to Rona or Home Depot or wherever the fuck
To get an AC or
To
a
get an
fan,
AC?
good fucking luck.
good luck, bud.
Good fucking
Because we
luck.
checked and there wasn't any. And we're savagely drowning in it, just like these goddamn NBA games, man. LeBron was right. Rough. Tell me how rough it was.
I think today's was like one of the lowest scoring games in a very long time. Suns Clippers ended 84-80. These guys made a combined 7 field goals in the fourth quarter. Both
Jesus
teams
Christ.
combined. Just to repeat that for anybody who didn't think that they heard that
Jesus
correct.
Christ. So one team basically got one free throw.
I think because I watched the fourth quarter. I think CP3 made like 5 free throws.
So what you're telling me is I'm gonna have this wish smoke and wish that Paul George and hey what's CP3 doing?
What do you mean? What's he doing?
What's he doing?
He's playing.
Is he fully back?
Oh yeah, he was never actually. So he tested positive for coronavirus and all that shit. And he had to whatever, but he's fully vaccinated. So the issue there was that even though he was technically fine, like he didn't actually get like sick from the virus, because the NBA doesn't actually have like policy. Like they don't have a kind of written rule where what'll happen if a vaccinated player gets positive for corona, because we have that for other things. So at some workplaces now and like this fucking traveling thing, there's different policy if you're fully vaccinated. But the NBA, it's like they didn't actually consider the fact that somebody that is vaccinated could get the virus. So when that happened, they're just like, well, sorry, Chris, you're just gonna have to fucking sit out for 10 days. Regardless if you're sick or not. That's just our policy right now. So he was fine. He was fucking doing TikToks with his kids the next day.
TikTok.
Right after he was positive. By the way, shout out to Funny But Foul TikTok. Please
Yeah,
follow.
check our TikToks out, man.
We're now on TikTok
our,
as well.
Our central base creators are putting hard time into this.
Hard time.
hard
Different kind of hard
time.
times because they've done hard time before.
Yeah.
We're talking different hard time.
Now we're doing easy hard time. You know what I'm saying? Outside Gen Pop hard time. You know what I mean?
Oh shit.
Gen Pop, baby.
You're not used to that, man. You're used to the Seg life.
Seg life.
Yo, speaking of Seg life, fucking you heard about George Floyd's is now convicted murderer.
Woo!
What's the guy's name? Derek Chauvin.
I don't give a fuck what his name is.
The cop.
I hope
The cop
that guy.
killed him. He got sentenced to 22.5 years.
Good.
So is he going straight to Seg or what? Because he's a fucking cop.
No.
They're not putting him in the Gen Pop, are they?
Seg is a fucking detention. Like in prison, there's the bad and then there's the worst. Those guys, you go to Seg. Seg is like a detention for you
How
when
about
you're in
like
jail.
if they want to protect you? What do they do then? If they feel that you are just at risk because you're in Gen Pop, like what they did to fucking
PC
Epstein.
baby.
PC, what is that?
Protective custody.
Protective custody in jail.
In jail.
So what does that look like? Is that a different like
Pedos,
area?
trannies.
No, but like logistically, like are they putting you in a different area?
Different
Do you
unit.
have a guard? Like
different unit.
What's the deal?
Yep. You have. It depends on the area.
Okay.
So if you are in Donovan, you're in a totally different unit.
Hey, don't give it away. But yes, we're gonna get into Dawn. If everyone wonders like what the fuck is Donovan, we're gonna get into this very, very soon. We've been talking about it for a long time. We've been mentioning it and like we've been teasing it for different episodes and stuff.
It's worth it, trust me.
It is gonna be fucking sick. I actually can't wait to do this because it's gonna be really cool to like go through this entire thing in a podcast format and almost like an interview format, but in a fun way. I can't wait for it. But you guys definitely fucking tune in for that because that's gonna be, I think, our best episodes to date.
It's gonna be good. Certain places like New York where real estate is hard to find, and North Cali.
Yeah.
A lot of those federal facilities are just basically fenced where the Gen Pop is and where the PC yard is. So you'll see a bunch of like Southsiders just like fucking wolfing at those PC guys.
Jesus,
just
dude.
being like, yo, you come over here, I'm gonna put this fucking shank in your ass and shit.
Jesus.
And those guys, I guarantee you, they sleep with 3 eyes open, and the third eye is their asshole. You guessed it right.
So cops are definitely going. I mean, because that's a weird thing. Cops never really go to prison for real.
But cops, what do they go to prison for? This shit, George Floyd shit.
I've never seen a cop going to prison for murder. I don't think that's happened yet.
This is an exception, though. This is an exception. This shit's an exception. You don't see much of these guys going to prison for no reason. Like this guy was fully guilty.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that other people aren't, but this one had like a revolutionary.
So much like fucking noise behind it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It had a revolutionary.
There's a movement behind it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was a complete different fucking vibration. It was a different fucking frequency. People just got fed up, and it was about time. Only this will work better if we can get this fed up with every fucking thing else, and we can actually have a fucking revolution. Socialism. Think about it.
Oh man. Okay.
What do you get the fuck out of here, bro? You're into fucking socialism, bro. You're like 90% socialistic. You come from Peru.
90% socialistic. Jesus Christ. Actually, that's crazy right now. So Peru is just going through they're still in their elections right now. So the way that it works in Peru is that you do a general election where anybody can run for president. Like you could fucking start a party and be like, I'm gonna do the People's Party of Peru, PPP.
Yeah.
And you can run, but they have not laws but like rules where they say, okay, it doesn't matter if 5 people are running or if 20 people are running, but whoever is in that general election, in order to become president, you need a minimum of like 25% of the whole vote of the country or whatever it is. Yeah. If that doesn't happen, if the person in the lead only gets 24% or less, then the 2 highest elected of people, like with the most votes, will do a runoff election in 1 month's time. So at that point, it goes from a 20-person race to a 2-person race.
It's kind of like the Cinderella story.
So they just went through that 2 weeks ago because
that Japanese guy. What happened to the
Japanese girl? Yeah. So a month and a half ago, they had the 20-person whatever.
Right.
And then the 2 front runners was Keiko Fujimori.
Keiko
Fujimori. His first name is Pedro. I know his last name is Castillo.
Of course, his name is Pedro.
And it was literally a battle of left to right. Castillo is very much on the left. Socialist, ex-farmer, all that stuff, man of the people, all that shit. And then Keiko was pretty much on the right. As far right as you can be without saying that, I am on the right. So they went through their runoff elections 2 weeks ago, and the whole country had to vote literally between these 2 people. So that's the funny part. Whether you liked either of them or not, you're now forced to vote between either one of them. So it's like, I don't care if you voted for fucking Jimbo down the street. Now you have to choose between these 2. That's how it works in Peru. So they're actually still going through their counts right now. So we may or may not see a big shift in Peru because both of these people are 2 totally different kinds of people and like how they're going to run their parties and stuff. So it's actually very interesting because you might either see a very right-leaning state in a couple of weeks' time or months' time or however fucking long it takes to count these votes.
You would think it would be right-leading, right?
Over history, it's been both.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, what's really funny is that, and it goes with most of South America, it's always been, whether it's left or right, it's always been military-backed, almost always. Back in the 60s, 70s, 80s.
Militia.
One of the famous cases that most people hopefully listen to this podcast will know is back in Chile, you had Allende and Pinochet.
Allende.
They were both basically military-backed. One was backed by the Russians. One was backed by the Americans.
Russia.
And then the American-backed guy won, and so people weren't happy about that. But yeah, it ends up being that most of South American history has been military-backed governments. None of that's happening right now, but I guess we'll see if it goes left or right. It's really generally it's been right.
I got a quick
We'll see.
question, and it's 100% no offense, no disrespect.
Oh, what you got?
Okay, so remember how we were talking about donkeys and stuff?
Oh, Christ. Okay.
Can donkeys vote?
I don't know. We're racist to donkeys.
See, this
Actually,
is
I
what
don't
I'm
think
saying.
I don't think it's racist.
This is
if
what
it's
I'm
an animal.
saying. Those goddamn donkeys chasing those guys with the fucking butt plugs in their ass.
Okay,
they can make the fucking movement
I
happen.
think we need a fucking fact check.
They can make the movement happen.
I think we need our fucking viewers to like check this shit out, because I'm Peruvian descent. I didn't grow up in Peru, so I can't give you like
exactly.
shit
So you don't know the
Peru.
real shit, bro. These are bridal traditions.
However, if anybody here has any familiarity with what the fuck we're talking about, please let us know, because I am pretty sure this is a whole bunch of bullshit.
Listen, and you know what? If you just want to join the cause, I will literally pay you to come on and say that it's true. Okay? So, you know, Trump 2023, it's all good. We'll pay you.
Is that so?
That's what it is.
Okay, sure.
But
yeah, just to wrap up the sports side of things, yeah, man, it's been kind of garbage lately.
It's been totally
wasn't that great.
trash.
It was
14
fucking
points.
lit. It was lit like the couple weeks before we've done this.
Yeah.
Man, it was fucking good ass.
And then injuries happen.
Uh-huh.
And then crash happens.
Yep.
And then you know what? This heat happens. And then you know what? Fucking you got Chris Paul fucking making TikToks now. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
Now, speaking of dudes that have great genetics, I want to go into designer fucking babies. Because
designer
now,
babies? What
designer
the fuck?
fucking babies,
what
bro.
What the fuck is this?
Listen, man, this is some real shit. You can make a Louis Vuitton baby, and this is what I mean. Blonde hair, blue eyes, can't get cancer,
You're talking about genetic engineering. Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
German engineering, except
German
it's not
engineering?
a Mercedes. It's a fucking human with a pussy or a fucking ball sack.
Okay.
And they can have the best from all sorts of things, man. They can have the best skin. Dude, you could literally change your kid to having the perfect. And, dude, this is something every man thinks about. We don't admit this, so this is the first time you're going to hear about this.
What?
This is about smooth ball sacks. You can literally have your kid have the smoothest ball sack known to man. Dave Chappelle talked about this.
Could
He's
you
like,
imagine like holding your child, like you're like it's just born.
Yeah.
Like just born. You find out it's a boy. You're like, man, I can't wait to fucking name it. You know, whatever you just wanted to name it. And you look at it like,
Israel.
can't wait till we got fucking smooth ball sacks.
This fucking goddamn smooth ball sacks, man. It's a good fucking move. You know what I mean? Smooth clit, smooth ball sacks. You know, say no more. Bam.
Can it get that detailed? Genetic engineering?
Oh, bro. Listen, there's only one guy we know, right? There's only one guy we know that knows about this.
Okay.
Why don't you give him a call, man?
All right,
We're going to ask this guy about this. You know, this guy's been on this before. Let me give him a quick introduction. This guy's had pipe dreams. He's been broken. He's been cut. He's been cut back into it.
Want to see if
and
he
then
picks up the phone.
one more time, he went in.
What's going on, buddy? You're on at Funny But Foul.
What's good?
Oh, nice.
Baby.
What's going on?
Welcome back, Dr. Evil.
Yeah, Dr. fucking Evil.
We just got done
man.
introducing you, man.
Listen,
How's it going? How are you facing this heat wave right now?
It's fucking awful, man.
Yeah, fucking I imagine.
dude, it is.
We
shit.
got two fans in here. We actually have to turn one off because it's like fucking with the mic pickups. But yeah, it's
You know what's interesting though? Everything smells more intensely. Kind of reminds me of like back in Europe, because I remember thinking like, why the fuck does nothing smell in Canada? And then back
it's all cold. It's all cold, man.
in the old country, everything kind of like stunk.
Yeah, dude.
It's just the heat back there. Like 40 is kind of normal.
Was it the same over in Tehran? Or
bro,
Iran?
Tehran is 47 degrees at 6:30 in the morning.
No, but I'm talking about like the smell, the fucking smell.
Dude, the smell is like rape and assault
Oh,
and
Christ.
like fucking government fucking depression, man. It's terrible.
That doesn't sound great.
Literally, that's how the smell is.
Is this true, or are you gonna like offend any of our Iranian, like Persian listeners?
Listen, if you're a soft pussy Iranian that you don't think that's true, go fuck yourself. It's fucking true. That's why people get out of there. You know,
Fair
people in Iran are like doctors and engineers and shit, and they get out of that to come be fucking McDonald workers. So if you don't think it's that bad, why the fuck are they coming out?
Speaking of engineers, though, we were gonna ask Dr. Evil about something specific.
Dr. fucking Evil. Yo, son.
The fucking name, man. All right,
Yo.
what is it?
we were just doing a quick intro about genetic engineering, and Armand was doing his whole thing about, you know, I want my kid to have smooth ball sack. Like these are Armand's priorities in life.
Yeah, man.
He wants to
You
have
want
a-
your kid to have what? Cerebral palsy?
No. no, smooth ball sacks.
Yo, listen.
That's what he wants.
Oh,
We're talking about German
that's the
engineering.
priority.
Yeah, this is Armand's priority. He wants his son to have a smooth ball sack, and he wants his daughter to have smooth everything else.
Yeah, man.
We're not talking about fuck intelligence, fuck all that other shit, right? Just like that's what
That's
matters.
secondary. All
Okay.
that shit's, you don't even need that shit. Listen, you don't even need that shit. If Funny But Foul takes off, my kids are gonna be so balls rich that all they're gonna be thinking about is fucking bleaching their asshole, smooth ball sacks, and which fucking person they're gonna fuck next. That's literally the motto I'm gonna raise these kids with. They're gonna be savages.
Okay, so now to the actual logistics of that.
So Slickerooey, Dr. Evil. This is what I'm gonna ask you right now, okay? From what you fucking know, right? With the pinner mustache that you possess,
Yeah.
do you think that you can go that deep? Like, are we talking about how deep are we talking about designer babies? Can we change like the areola of the nipples? Can we change like how much pigmentation they have? How deep can we fucking put this? How deep can we change it with CRISPR?
You can't do any of that yet.
Fuck.
Because it's not
God
like
damn it.
one gene.
Yeah.
Most of this stuff isn't understood. You'll have like a whole bunch of different genes that probably interact somehow and give you a certain characteristic, whether that's height or eye color or nipples, as you mentioned.
Areolas, baby.
But it's pretty complicated because before it was, I think maybe people got the wrong impression with the genome project where they kind of sequenced the DNA, like the entire human genome.
Yeah.
But just because they sequenced it doesn't mean they have any insight into which nucleotides, which kind of fundamental parts of that, like what do they mean, what do they correspond to? That's still
Where
kinda
where
up
do
in the
like the top scientists in this area of science?
There's a huge they put a what's the word, a moratorium on this recently as far as moratorium, thanks.
Oh.
Because there were some experiments that were not really sponsored by the
Unethical.
community at large. Yeah, so, I mean it's not, I don't even know if it's completely confirmed that this was actually carried out, but there was a publication anyways that claimed to have done this on embryos.
Listen,
what
I
is
They
just want to.
changed a couple of genes. Well, actually, I think it was just one gene, CCR4 or something like this. Something related to HIV that basically conferred HIV immunity, supposedly,
Okay,
Right.
okay.
to twins. It was a weird thing to kind of give them. I mean, I suppose you could sequence their DNA later to confirm if that change was actually successfully done, but also it's like, what are you gonna try to give them HIV later to see if it worked?
Yeah, Jesus,
Weird.
fucking savage with that.
So quick question here. So with all these genes not being understood, is it a way, like, I'm gonna put this in layman's term because I don't really
You're
know
gonna put this
how
in Armand terms.
to.
What's your fucking-
Bushflu terms.
How to
Let's-
find out?
Listen. So can you, when you change the height, there's obviously a negative effect, right? Do we know of these negative effects? Like if I get the guy's height to be like 6'8", okay, does that mean
This
that
guy's like making a character in NBA 2K10.
Yeah, man, he's making your avatar.
dog, I'm making this guy who's so juiced up. You know how like 350 pounds was the max weight? This kid's gonna
Yeah.
be like
Okay,
580.
I think we should rephrase this question. Based on what we know, this will be a two-part question. Based on what we
Yeah.
know now, what are the actual possibilities and limitations of what we can do with genetic engineering? And then the second question would be, what do some people theorize is possible in the future with this?
These are none of my questions. How dare you?
I'm helping the people who actually fucking listen to this
Aw,
podcast.
fuck
You could
you.
probably do everything you want. Like, I mean, this is just me now.
Yeah.
Speculating.
Top
The
minds.
thing is, the people who are actually involved in the research behind this, they're like quite clearly against doing any sort of
That's bullshit.
Designer
modifications that are unethical. Yeah, so stuff like that would be at the very bottom of their list of things to spend time and resources on. The stuff that's actually getting attention is supposed to be like curative. So they're looking at diseases and whatnot. One that gets a lot of press is sickle cell anemia, because that's been identified as like a single nucleotide mutation
Nucleotide.
that
Can
if
you
you
explain what that
fix
is?
that.
Single
Whoa,
what's sickle
whoa.
cell?
So
anemia?
if you think of the DNA, there's like a single piece of code in the DNA that if you fix, you cure this disease.
Oh, okay.
Whereas like earlier you're talking about height and eye color and whatnot, and it's not a single, it's not a single piece of the DNA that you can. At least they don't know what it is.
Right.
But here it's known. It's just like a single thing. If you fix that, you actually remove the disease. Or rather, they know that if you have that mutation, you definitely have sickle cell anemia.
So is it a quick question about sickle cell? Is it true that pound for pound, African Americans or just Africans get it more?
Yeah, it's way more. In,
yeah. How the fuck did I know that?
Because you probably asked them about this beforehand.
No, I didn't. I looked at this stuff.
Oh, you looked this up? You did your research?
Yeah, I did.
Hey!
I did some goddamn
Look at
research,
this
son.
fucking guy doing
What do you
research.
think I'm doing over here? Failing tests for no reason?
Yes.
Come on, son.
Yeah, a lot of diseases are like that. They tend to like. There's usually a disproportionate amount amongst different ethnicities.
Yeah, makes sense.
So like diabetes, I think people know it's more common in like East Indians and.
What other? Because you mentioned sickle cell anemia. Is there anything else specific that we could look to look at in terms of like development?
Specific.
Development with
Well,
regards to
there's other like there's sickle cell thalassemia and probably some other like less commonly known blood disorders.
Oof.
But
there's
but also these are like pretty rare too. So like, it's a good way to potentially apply some of this. Here's kind of the spooky part. I think you kind of asked about this earlier with CRISPR. Or in general with using some of this DNA editing technology, because this stuff existed for a while. CRISPR just made it more accessible,
mainstream.
Like it's cheaper and usable by like people all over the place. You don't have to have a super specialized like one or two labs in the world that can do it.
Right.
Labs all over the place. The lab I'm working in actually uses it as well. Not
Dude,
people,
stop
of course,
flaunting your shit, dog. We get it. You're smart.
Listen,
Fuck.
man, he's trying to fucking lay down facts, and you're just interrupting.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Trying to get
If
sponsorships.
when you use this, you tend to, at least when you're literally trying to make the change in the DNA, you potentially increase the possibility that cancerous cells can form.
Oh.
Because in order for this change to actually take place, you have to prevent your body's sort of endogenous repair system.
What is endogenous?
Because like it's already within the cell.
Okay.
So the cell has a repair system for DNA that's damaged, because your DNA is being damaged all the time, and it's also being repaired all the time. And using this technology or other technologies, you are in effect damaging it in a very specific way, in a precise manner, and then trying to instill like some change, usually replacing a codon. But you don't want your cell to repair that before you can make the replacement, otherwise you haven't done anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So by virtue of that, you kind of, it's kind of like how sometimes people on medication, they'll take immunosuppressants.
Right. Yeah.
So like technically your immune system's kind of compromised, but you're intentionally doing that for the medication to work. It's kind of like what's going on here.
Okay.
So you can be fixing one part of your DNA
and you're
giving
fucking
yourself a
something
fucking
else.
tumor
Yeah.
somewhere else.
So this was
Yeah.
my goddamn fucking question, man. I was like, yo.
Yeah, that's what I heard earlier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Heck, fuck you, Hector,
What?
man. This guy with his mustache trying to give us some
My
fucking
mustache
mystical fucking
has a lot of fucking
diplomas
wisdom,
and shit. Dude,
Yeah,
you
but
got lost in the sauce.
eventually you'll be able to probably change height and hairline and all this stuff. I know you want to change.
So hold on. Last question before we move on. Is there
Yeah.
any options for like someone who's already born, like someone like me, to change my genetics to a perfect hairline?
That's part of the
Sazuli?
problem is like they have to figure out how to deliver it to where you want to see the changes.
Oh, straight
'Cause, like,
to the fucking follicles.
all the cells in your body basically carry more or less the same copy of DNA.
Right.
But if you want to change something, for example, the DNA that is kind of expressed in your eyes, there's no need to change that DNA in your foot or something like that. It wouldn't make any sense.
Size 14 feet, but like
But, like,
fucking
fucked up hairline.
blue eyes.
Yeah.
So yeah, you need to be able to target this stuff, and
Yeah.
that's not worked out whatsoever. I mean, I'm sure they are working on it, but again, all this like application to human stuff is pretty far, I think.
So, quick question for you. Going from drugs to other drugs. So, as we
Yeah.
know, brother, let's be honest here. I've inducted you into the Hall of Fame of smoking weed. You know, we've smoked weed. It was exactly 5 joints, Hector. He
5?
smoked 5 fucking joints.
That was a
Didn't know
lot.
how to fucking puff the joint.
I was gonna say though, does it count though?
It doesn't count, but I'll count it for him because he's my brother.
Okay, fine, fair. But like off the record, how much would it be like in terms of like real stuff?
Legit,
Like,
he
half?
took. Listen, legit on the record. I'll go on the record because I've known this motherfucker for 12 years.
Yep.
On the record, he had 3/4 of a legit joint.
That's what I'm talking.
3/4
about.
of a legit joint.
Okay.
But I'm gonna go
and
say he had fucking
yes,
five joints.
Five.
Okay?
We're going 5.
5 joints. He just didn't fucking. His lungs were platinum, son. He didn't. He took it in, but he took it out like a fucking ISIS. You know what I'm saying? You told me one thing. You told me one thing that night. You know what you told me? You told me you're like, dog, I don't know how you fucking do this. I don't know if this was word for word, but this is what I remember. You're like, dog, I don't know how you do this. I cannot.
No, what I remember is you asked me how do we get here, and I totally blanked out. That's when I realized.
So he knows where he was.
Welcome to my world, motherfucker. So the question is
Yeah.
2 things. One, do you respect guys like me that smoke it every day, multiple times a day? We're talking like 5 or 6 and
No.
function.
No.
And 2, the other thing is can you smoke, like if you had to give advice to your kid, right? Let's say you're not like you and you want to have a kid. Let's say you gave advice to your kid and you said, hey, this is X amount of times you should smoke it, or this is the max amount of times you should smoke it. What would you tell them? Like, what would you say? Start with the first question, though. Were you proud of me?
I didn't know you smoked that much. That's a lot. It's probably not good for you, but I don't really care, man. If I know some, very few, but there's some people that come to mind that like are really productive and they do still smoke weed, and I guess that's fine.
Name a couple, son.
You wouldn't know them, and I don't want to throw people's names out here. I don't even
Fair.
give out my
You don't
names.
need to do
Fair. But Bushlu is number 1. You know that?
Probably number
Probably
1
number 17.
with a 0.
There's some famous people I could think of that smoke quite a bit of weed, and you wonder like how that
What
still
is? I
worked
have a
out.
question for you, Mr. Agbashlu.
Yes, sir.
What does smoking weed do for you personally?
Okay, as we know, I'm a fucking aggressive fucking piece of shit. What weed
Fair
does,
description.
it gives me a idea of sensitivity that I don't have, and Dr. Evil can attest to this. Some of our friends are sensitive, and some of them aren't. I am like not that sensitive. I've blown up a few times, but I can literally count how many times I've blown up. What weed does for me, it takes away that aggression. It takes away from that, and it
Takes off the edge.
Yeah, and I could totally take like what I couldn't take in words if I was sober, I could take with weed, and it gives me an introspective idea of how I should reflect upon other people around me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I could kind of understand them. Now, this isn't something you can understand unless you've done it so many times that you can kind of be like, okay, this is how I am sober.
Yeah.
This is how I am on weed.
Yeah.
Now, for Dr. Evil,
It's
what
funny
I
'cause
want,
I have that for alcohol, but I don't have that for weed.
you don't have that for weed.
No, because I've been.
You don't smoke enough, though.
Well,
that's
yeah,
the
and
thing.
that's the thing. Well, that's what I'm saying. Because I have that for alcohol though, because I've drank enough and
Yeah.
I've been drunk enough times. Like I do understand that.
Yeah.
And the effect that it has on me,
Yeah.
and like what it can do. But I'm not experienced enough with the weed personally for myself to see, to truly like map out what the effects have on me and what it changes. In
Let me tell you guys one thing, Dr. Evil and Hector. One thing I want you guys to try, and I know you guys will never because you don't give a fuck. But the one thing I could tell you guys is like, just take one edible, like a legitimate edible. Like we're talking 50 milligrams to 70 milligrams for you guy lightweights, and for guys like me, we're talking like 600 to 800 milligrams.
I don't think they sell them that small.
Okay,
Because I've had edibles.
they sell 80 milligrams, and you can split it up to 3/4, and you get 60.
It's not out of the question. It's like a one-time thing. It's not a big deal. It's the stuff
no.
that you're doing every day. You're telling me that I'd be more worried about.
No, I know you're worried about me and shit, and I appreciate that. But I'm gonna actually start slowing down once school gets really heavy in the fall. I'm gonna start slowing down. But that aside, what I have to tell you guys is how it could actually increase your mind potential. There is a thing in life where you hit a fucking plateau, and I don't know if you guys have been there. You might have. I don't know. But with weed, you can't escape it. When you're about to green out, it's like you're about to fucking die, man. And they have the trigger in your fucking forehead and you're about to either puke, die, pass out, whatever. If you could bring yourself back from that, I guarantee you, Dr. Evil, you or Hector, I'm telling you, this will actually help you in real life. Like it's like it's a trip, but it's a trip that makes you strong fucking mentally.
But you mean edibles or smoking weed?
Well,
Either
I don't
or.
either or to the point where you're like tripping ass. Recently, I took like 4 or 5 days off, and if you guys know, half-life of weed is 72 hours. So once it's 72 hours, your tolerance goes all the way down. So I just did this just to test myself out. I did 3 joints back to back. Halfway into the second joint, I'd said this a few podcasts ago. I was fucking army crawling to my fucking sink. I put a plate. I couldn't even get on my knees.
This is like that scene in fucking Wolf of Wall Street where
Exactly.
the guy's on fucking Quaaludes.
Quaaludes, baby. Hashtag Joey fucking Coco Diaz, cocksucker. I was fucking putting the plate where the fucking fixture is for the fucking the water, and it was dripping down into my mouth on the floor, and I was just catching the fucking water in order not to pass out.
That's
the level of fucking highness and greening out. You're tunnel visioning. You're thinking about your mom telling you fucked up in the world. You're thinking about all the people that told you you're a loser, you're not going to fucking make it. And you're like, dude, if this water keeps lasting and I keep opening my fucking eyes, I'm not going to green out. I'm going to win. It's an intense fucking feeling. And once you pass that, there's like insecurities that I had that went away. And I'm hoping that you guys do that too and it goes away. But let's get back to the fucking question, Dr. Evil. Would you recommend doing this as a trivial thing to expand your mind, to test yourself? Would you try to do it? Would you recommend it to other people?
I've heard stuff about LSD. That's pretty much the only drug that seemed to be like in that category that you're talking about. I don't know, and it's not just weed though, and not even edibles, like specifically LSD.
Psychedelics is what you're talking
And
about.
I've never done LSD, nor would I recommend it to this like hypothetical kid of mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
12-year-old
But
kid.
I
Hey,
might
you
try
wanna-
one day.
You want
I
to start
don't know, we'll
microdosing
see.
on LSD, kid?
Dr. Evil, I'm telling you, as a brother that's known you for fucking 12 years, you're gonna fucking do it, brother. You're gonna
LSD?
fucking do it. You're gonna do it with me. You're gonna do it with Daddy, right? And possibly Hector if his mom lets him, right? Possibly Hector if his mom lets him. Okay, he's gonna have to talk to her in Spanish for 20 minutes, say some lies, but it's okay because I got his back, and he's not doing anything illegal. He's not dealing drugs. Not doing anything. He's just doing LSD with the boys. He's doing with the boys.
That's
You know, and going
fucking
from the
stupid.
boys to going to farmers. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's you have like positive and negative experiences from what I've heard people.
Hector has some positive ones and some negative ones, right?
on LSD.
Weed,
Never.
Weed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, weed.
The only negative one was greening out, because I greened out before.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
for real.
Yeah.
That was the only negative.
Yeah,
Other
but
than
I
that-
want you to know, like, I take care of you greened out here.
No, I understand.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
The people I was with that night took care of me too.
Yeah, good.
So that's fine. But yeah,
Good
everything
stuff.
else has been positive, really.
Yeah. So what I'm talking about, Dr. Evil, is a phenomenon that's going on in India because India has a shortage. Because
Was actually, I don't know if it's still, well, it's
it's
still,
still
happening.
going
Yeah,
on.
Yeah, sure.
This is why it's still going on. A lot of Indians, no offense, are vegetarians. Now vegetarians don't get enough they don't get enough B12. There's a lot of other things that you could talk into Dr. Evil that are about having anemia deficiencies due to not eating enough meat.
Yeah.
Okay? Now that has to do exactly linked with the problem that's going on in India with the anemia is that they need blood farming, right? They need people to take blood out of them, the healthy people, and give it to the people that are anemic. Now, can you speak of this? Do you have any kind of reference to call back on?
No, I'm thinking there's a couple of things you mentioned that are kind of interesting. One of them just being like vegetarianism. I know you're super against it. I don't know about Hector, but I could see myself doing that one day. I feel like it's probably a long-term, most reasonable.
I'm not against it. This is what I mean. I'm a firm believer in cycling things. Now, my mom is a full-blown vegetarian. Full-blown
That's cool.
vegetarian.
Well, vegetarian.
Now,
or
she went-
vegetarian or vegan.
No, vegetarian.
That's fine.
So I've had
Vegan's tough.
vegans very
Vegan's
tough
tough.
because you can't even have eggs.
Any
So-
byproducts, no milk either, bro.
So my mom is a doctor, a little background on that. So like I could literally talk to her and be like, dude, you're not getting enough B12. Take B12. So
Sure.
it's like she's okay on that side, but she's doing it for like, oh, helping the animals. They hurt too, all that shit. I get that.
Sure.
But if you cycle this stuff, it might be healthy, like a fast,
I think you're talking about steroids now, bro.
right? If you cycle,
Yes, kind of.
if you,
I don't know if that's the right word here.
but listen, if you cycle on being vegetarian and cycle off, it will be healthy to lower your LDL H.
I've actually had people who've done this. Literally, like they cycle it. They'll do
Right.
like I want to say like 6 month terms.
Yeah.
But they'll do like their regular diet, and then they'll be like, you know what, I'm just gonna go plant based for like 6 months, or
Yeah.
like vegetarian, right? And
Yeah.
then they're off of it, and they kind of go back.
Yeah.
And I think that cycling of it is a good thing because it allows your body to respond to
This
it
is exactly what I'm talking about.
both ways, because otherwise it kind of gets used to one
Right.
or the other.
Right.
So I think cycling it is a good way. Because it's not too much of a drastic change. Because I mean, ideally, if you have like a relatively balanced diet, anyways, you're not going too fucking ham on any one kind of meat.
Right.
So once you go like full plant based, you still have eggs, milk, cheese, all that other
Right.
stuff, but it allows your body to kind of react to taking a break from red meats, pork, whatever kind of other meats that you're eating.
If you have a legitimate diet plan where you're getting all your macros, your micros, you don't need to actually get on. Like as a male,
Yeah.
all you need to do is donate blood because your blood tends to become thicker, especially if you do roids. Your blood tends to become thicker, and every 6 months you should give blood. That's what I've seen that worked that on myself and other people. But becoming a full-time vegetarian as a woman is hard because they have time of the month. A lot of them are already anemic as is. It's like they're not getting enough meat as is because of the time of the month. And that's what I believe is tough to promote full time. Now, give me a couple of short ideas, Dr. Evil, about this. Give me a couple of short good ideas.
Well, I heard this thing recently. This doesn't answer your question at all, but it was like a worldwide shortage of blood plasma because you can donate blood, but typically you can't sell it, except
Yeah.
for some countries.
That's
In the U.S.,
Drug
actually,
dealer.
you can sell your blood.
That's actually kind of it's great you mentioned
Iran.
Well,
you could
Iran,
sell-
no,
but
but
a lot
also-
of countries, there's a lot of countries around the world where you can't sell blood, and so what they do is they purchase it from other countries, and the
Right.
U.S. is a major one. So you'll have countries in South America that purchase blood plasma from the U.S. and use it to treat people for all kinds of diseases. And then there's been like a huge shortage of that, and there's people, I guess, picketing for laws to be reversed, so you can't sell.
Right,
Because you know, people sell they feel like you're selling organs, and that can be kind of a dark path. But then there's other people that need that as a life source, really.
That's interesting because what Armand just mentioned about the whole like Indian blood shortage, when I looked into it, a lot of it had to do. Well, there are a few factors. One, they said India is obviously one of the many countries that doesn't actually allow you to legally sell blood or buy blood. And the other reason, there were a couple of the ones like a couple of urban myths going around that guys shouldn't give blood because it weakens the immune system, weakens
It's
you as a
that
person.
religious shit,
There's a lot of
man.
stuff. The reason they basically
Yeah.
just tell you
Well,
like
people
not
were
donate.
donating way less now because of COVID.
There-
Right?
well,
Like,
yeah,
why
but-
would you go to the hospital
Well,
now?
even
Welcome.
pre-COVID, because the articles that I was reading and when this was kind of like a really big deal in the mainstream news was back in 2015, 2013, and so this was way before COVID. But India had a severe blood shortage just as a nation, so
Yeah.
they were going through. I forget what figure that they used. The WHO uses as a healthy means to have like blood stockpile relative to your population. I think it's like 1% of your blood. Sorry, 1% of your population should be in reserves for blood, and India was like 30% under that threshold,
Jesus.
which is already a conservative number to have to
Where
begin
are they
with.
hiding it, bro?
So no, well, basically what ends up happening is because the state doesn't actually have any blood stockpiles, the doctors still need the fucking blood. Someone goes in for surgery, someone whatever, someone's on fucking what's a kidney, someone's renal, dialysis. They still need blood. Like they're still gonna need blood. So the doctor's like, well, that's great that we don't have blood to give because we're not buying it as a hospital or whatever, but we still need it. So what ends up happening is that the fucking patients will just go out on the black market and buy
fuck.
blood, and then the next day we'll give it to the doctor, no questions asked. And the doctor's like, well, I would normally ask, but if I...
It is what it is.
Not only what it is, what it is. It's like, buddy on the fucking hospital bed here is going to die if he doesn't get...
He's about to die. Give him the mozzarella.
2 pints of blood. So there's a whole illegal industry in India. Oh, it's illegal, but there's a whole thing in India where guys are kind of basically running businesses under the table of procuring blood.
Yeah.
And
some vampire shit.
it literally is.
Edward Collins, buddy.
If anybody who's listening now wants to take a look at it, just look up Indian blood farms.
Or look at Twilight.
That's
It's all
fucking
the
weird.
same.
But there are fucked up cases of, I think one of the more famous ones that kind of came to light was on the Nepalese-Indian border. There are some towns on the Indian side that are very high in terms of how many immigrants they get from Nepal, just immigrants in general. And so what they're doing is they're taking these immigrants to work in the farms, but then they'll...
Oh, fuck. They're just draining them.
Yeah, literally. They're literally draining... Well, I don't know if they still are. Probably still are, but they were literally draining these people. And the cases that these guys were, like, uncovering is, like, all of a sudden, one guy who's, like, fucking deathly... Like, he looks... His fucking skin is gray because he's got such depleted blood. And so he like, stumbles into town. And someone's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And then you see, like, the multiple amounts of fucking, like... in his arm, the amount of times that they fucking syringed him, because
Lobotomied.
they're not giving him the normal like 6 months turnaround here.
No,
they're giving him like fucking 3 days at best.
At best, with
And
a
so
cow.
The guy's like, you know, what the fuck happened to you? Then the guy will explain, you like, yo, you know, yeah, I thought I was gonna work for this farm, and then turns out that I'm actually being farmed myself for my fucking blood. And they're like, where? So then they go to this farm, and then you'll see like fucking, it's like a fucking movie, where it's not quite a dungeon because it's, you know, it's India, but fucking not like multiple people in the same situation where they're like fucking hooked up, giving blood against their will.
It all makes sense now.
But because there's such a huge demand, because this country is immense in terms of its people.
Yeah.
What is it, like 2 billion people in this country?
At least.
And if you're already in a blood shortage,
At least.
like what the fuck? Like what do you expect, right?
A lot of kabatis.
If you as a state are not allowing the purchasing of blood through legal means, in the sense of like, okay, we're a hospital, we're going to have blood drives every month, and we're going to pay everybody who shows up 1,000 rupees or whatever. If you don't allow that, and then you also just outlaw blood giving in general, I'm sorry, a blood like sale, people are still going to do it because they fucking need it, because you don't even have enough blood to give around for fucking surgeries. So it's fucked up.
War against blood, baby.
I wonder
Donate.
if it happens in other countries, but Vic, you mentioning about that whole thing about, you know, most countries don't allow the sale and purchase. That's actually interesting, because I thought India was actually one of the few, but I guess they're one of the many, is what you're saying, right?
Well, I would say most countries you cannot sell blood, and U.S. is one of the few. If that's what you said, I couldn't hear.
Well, no, I guess what the question was, India is, because I was under the impression that India was one of the few that didn't allow.
No, that's sort of the norm.
Okay, that's the norm.
The norm is you can't sell.
So
you
India,
can't sell organs.
Sorry.
Organs like definitely.
No, organs fine.
Blood
blood
is sort of hit.
Well, so but the United States does allow the purchase and like.
Yeah, so you can sell your blood in the U.S., whereas most of the rest of the world you can only donate it.
That makes sense.
And I'm trying to look up right now, like, what is the argument really for
this is the
preventing
argument.
Sale?
This is the argument. Trump 2024, baby.
I doubt
that's the argument.
Because you can also fucking sell your sperm in the States. You can't sell your sperm in Canada. You can donate your sperm. You can't sell it.
Listen.
Did you know that, big boy?
Yeah, but you know what? You can sell your sperm.
Here?
Yeah.
No, you can't.
You know how?
How?
There's a way. There's a turnaround rate. Okay? You got to go balls deep, son. You got to become an escort.
Shut the fuck up. That's fucking...
Then you're selling sperm, son.
Definitely got to wrap this
Cream
segment
pies
up now.
plus 40
All
bucks.
right, yeah, we just lost it.
Let's go, baby.
We're in a good place with this fucking
They
lost
probably, I would imagine the argument is something like it exploits people in dire situations.
Fair enough, yeah.
Yeah, if you need cum, you coming, son.
All right.
And with
Imagine like selling your kidney or lung or something like that.
And with that coming, we're gonna start going. Is what we're gonna start doing.
Exactly. That's been good. Dr. Evil,
Thank you.
It's been a goddamn fucking pleasure, son. You slick your back and you think about me one time and you fucking mashallah the Allah, baby. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna go sit in ice water.
Yeah, baby.
So are we.
Thanks for coming on. We'll hit you up later, boy.
Take care. Good night.
See you later. Take care.
That was our
All
boy,
right.
Dr. Evil.
Dr. Evil,
Another
shout
great
outs.
segment.
Another great segment. Very informational. Almost too informational.
For you, maybe.
Bro, I got lost. I went to the Matrix. I came back. I dodged a few
I thought
bullets.
you're still in the Matrix, bro.
And I came back and I was looking at you like you're Morpheus. And I looked at your hairline. And I was like, he might be Morpheus.
He might be Morpheus.
He might be Morpheus.
Or it might be
with
that other
hairline.
bald guy who betrays everybody. Remember that one?
Yeah, but fuck that guy.
Yeah,
We
fuck
don't even
that
know
guy.
his
Yeah,
name. Fuck that guy.
Zephyr, I think was his
Yeah,
name.
fuck him. Don't even bring him up.
Fuck him.
With that, all I want to do is I want to give a shout out to all the motherfuckers that supported us, all the motherfuckers that think we're funny, all the savages that like, subscribe. We're on TikTok now this week, baby. TikTok.
As well as every other social media platform, or almost every other social media platform.
Everyone.
Instagram, YouTube. Search up Funny But Foul podcast on Instagram, Funny But Foul everywhere else.
Yep.
All your podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify. Share with your friends. If you guys find this funny, I mean, fuck, just share with your friends.
Listen.
See what's up.
And you know what? We're open. We're flexible. We're like that gymnast that couldn't get a job and became a stripper. You know what I'm saying? We're going to do some crazy shit that other strippers can't do. We'll take suggestions. We'll take you in.
Yeah, we will.
And see
for sure.
if the thing that you're talking about is worth talking about and informing other people. And with that said, I want to give a quick shout out to Stem's motherfucking chocolates, man. StemChocolates.com, Stem Chocolates on Instagram. These fucking people, they're fucking goddamn professionals. They are pros when it comes to
Great
the
service.
perfect mix.
Great fucking service.
Great service. They'll deliver all that good stuff.
Answer your questions.
Answer
If you
all
got
the
any questions
things.
about microdosing at all,
Yes,
they
baby.
will. Yeah, they got a lot of
Yes,
knowledge behind them.
of course. They come in different flavors. Check them out at stemschocolates.com. I've tried it. Hector, have you tried it?
Bro, I was on it before you were on it.
Come on,
All
son.
about that.
Listen, if you're Moses, I'm Jesus. You know what I'm saying? The whole point is if you got any kind of anxiety, any kind of mental health that you're dealing with, and you're not comfortable with the pharmaceuticals, to take the pharmaceuticals and to take what the doctor's telling you like a lab rat, try these guys. It's worth it. What if it works? What if it's what you need? And that's what it is. What you need is what we bleed. And with that,
Signing
we're
off.
goddamn out of here. Bump that bitch.